Morning, everybody. I hope you're all well. It is the next this week of the SEM lockdown digital school. A very, very warm welcome to you all. I hope you all had a good weekend. I hope you all had a good rest. All right. And we're going to carry on with our natural science grade six. For those of you who don't know who I am Karabo on Instagram. I go by KB_Hashani, and on Facebook, it's Karabo Fiona Hashani. It is always a pleasure having you guys, and I hope that we can have a fruitful and very, very productive lesson. Please remember to just keep your chats related to the subject today and the questions that you may have. Avoid putting in any comments that are not supposed to be in there. So just only keep it to asking questions and answering the questions that I may ask you. All right, let's get straight into it. So, just a quick recap from last week's lesson. Last week we were talking about food. We discussed nutrients in food, different food groups, all right, and we now know that there are some foods called sometimes foods and foods that we can't eat all the time. All right, now with plants, plants can make their own food from the light, water, and carbon dioxide in their environment. The vitamins and minerals they get from soils and chlorophyll in their leaves. All right, this is called photosynthesis. Now you have an idea. We are going to be discussing photosynthesis today. All right, so now that's plants. We know that plants can actually make their own food. However, though, animals and humans, not exactly. We cannot make our own food. We have to get our food from plants and other animals. So we don't have all the necessary substances and chemicals that we need to make our own food. Instead, we rely on plants and animals, all right, to make our food. Um, could be cooking, drying, whatever the case may be. All right, so we're not as gifted as plants, if I can call it that, right? We don't have a process of photosynthesis. That's a process for plants, all right? Food groups. Now, by just looking at that picture at your bottom left, you can remind me what are the four food groups? What are the four food groups that we discussed last week just by looking at those pictures? Yes, Triasha.
Ma'am, it's carbohydrates, protein, um, vitamins and minerals, and fats and oils.
Very good. Thank you, Triasha. All right, 100%. You got your carbs, your proteins, vitamins and minerals, fats, and oils. Who remembers what is the other word for fats and oils? So instead of saying fats and oils, what do we actually call them? All right, Iksan said lipids. Very, very good. We call them lipids. So if you hear somebody saying, oh, I had so much lipids today, you know that they are referring to fats and oils. All right, that's your cheese, butter, peanut butter. Those are your fats and oils. 100%. All right. So the four major nutrients groups. So nutrients in food are divided into four main groups. So like Trisha said, and how a lot of you are saying currently in your chats, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, which are also lipids, and of course vitamins and minerals. Those are the major nutrients that we need in our diets. All right. And remember, if you have all four in your plate for supper or lunch, you have just had a balanced diet. You've had some carbs, some proteins, vitamins, and minerals, as well as maybe a fruit salad as a dessert or whatever the case may be. All right. So, very, very important to balance out your food groups. Don't eat too many carbs and less vitamins and minerals, or eat too many fats and oils and no vitamins and minerals again. All right, so very, very important to balance it out. All right, I hope you've all been having a balanced diet this weekend. All right, you haven't been eating too much fats and oils, you've been eating a lot of vitamins, had some proteins. All right, awesome stuff. Now, these nutrients are found in different foods and are used in different ways in order to grow and maintain our bodies. So, what carbohydrates do to our body is not the same as what vitamins and minerals could do to our bodies. We get nutrients from different foods, which is why it is important to make sure that you're eating all these foods daily. Most foods that we eat contain nutrients from more than one nutrient group. This is what we spoke about last week. An apple contains carbohydrates in the form of sugars as well as vitamins and minerals. Chicken contains protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Many foods are processed to assist with food preservation, safety, and manufacturing process. Processed food is any food that is changed from its natural raw state. So the way a cow is and the way it lands on your plate, it has been changed from its natural to its processed. We do not just go to a farm, take the cow and put the cow on our plate. Of course not. It has to go through different processes. All right, it has to be slaughtered, it has to be washed and right. Food processing techniques include peeling, slicing, mincing, emulsification, cooking, spray drying, or adding an ingredient to enhance shelf life or for functional reasons. Right, so a lot of foods that we eat are being processed, and we actually last week spoke about if processed food is actually very healthy to us. All right, and if adding additives in our foods is okay or not. And some of you said that, yeah, it's okay because we need it. It also makes our food last longer. All right. Now, here's an interesting fact. Did you know every time we breathe, chew food, blink our eyes, or move in any way, we are using the energy we get from the carbohydrates we have eaten. So now we know from eating our carbs, the way we breathe, the way we chew, all of those movements are actually energy coming from carbs. It's very, very interesting to know how our body works and how our body needs carbohydrates to function. All right, so that was just a recap from last week's lesson. All right, here's just a few pictures showing examples of the different food groups. Our carbohydrates, we've got our breads and pastas, fats and oils, peanut butter, fish is also a bit oily, some cheese, nuts, proteins. Fish is a very good source of protein, chicken, meat, also very good examples of proteins, and of course, vitamins and minerals. These are protection foods. They help us, protect us from any illnesses. If you've got a flu, you're told to have some oranges, all right? Proteins help with growing and fixing foods, and our carbohydrates are starches and sugars. Right, then we've got fats, which is energy and protein. All right, very good. I see Zamil asking me, is fried fish healthy? All right, now it obviously depends on what you're frying it with. It's a lot healthier to fry with maybe olive oil as opposed to sunflower oil. But obviously, the longer you fry the fish for, you're obviously removing all the nutrients from the fish. All right. It's a lot better to just grill the fish, in the oven, at least to not have so much oil in it. But fish is fish, and no matter however way you decide to make the fish, it is still very healthy to eat. All right, but not too much frying fish. And you can't have fish and chips for the specific fish and chips fish that is being fried all the time and think it's healthy. Too much oil is unhealthy. All right, awesome. All right, now let's discuss plants and food together with photosynthesis. I want you guys to tell me, whoever knows, why is photosynthesis so important for plants and food? Why is it so important? Who can tell me? Why is photosynthesis so important? I see Triasha has his hand up again. Yes, Triasha.
Man, photosynthesis is important
Yes.
because so that it can make its own food.
Okay, so that it can make its own food. All right, thank you, Triasha. Anybody else who can tell me why is photosynthesis so important? All right, remember just to write down in the chat to tell me why it is so important. Zonita plants energy. All right, could be. I see we've got a drill. Let's try and meet you, Adriel. Yes, Adriel. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did.
All right, cool. Why is photosynthesis so important?
It's so important so the plants can get food, and when the leaves grow, so the plant can grow, so like other animals or humans can eat it.
100%. Very good. So, not only do animals rely on photosynthesis, but so do humans too. All right, we rely on photosynthesis, and so do the animals. And that's what makes photosynthesis so important. All right, I see Iksan saying that it also makes glucose, and Zamini saying it can also make food. Very, very good. All right, now, green plants are just like factories. All right. They make food for themselves and every animal on earth using sunlight energy, water, and the gas carbon dioxide. All right. So, making use of sunlight energy, water, and carbon dioxide helps to make food for the plant itself and for every animal and human, all right, on the earth. They also recycle the air and make oxygen for us to breathe. So now we know, just like a factory, let's think maybe the Albani factory that makes bread, all right, we rely on that factory to provide us with bread. Could be brown bread, white bread, whole wheat bread, but that is a factory that provides us with bread. Just like green plants are exactly like that because they actually provide food for themselves and every animal and human. All right, let's discuss plants and food. Plants make their own food, which is glucose, sugar, just like somebody mentioned, by a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis takes place mainly in the leaves. During photosynthesis, the plant uses sunlight energy, carbon dioxide from the air, and water to make glucose sugar. So we're all actually just working together with photosynthesis. We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. And that very carbon dioxide is needed for the plants to start the process of photosynthesis. Plants change some of the glucose sugar into starch, which they store in their leaves, stems, and roots, flowers, fruits, and seeds. A plant's food, as we have discovered, is called glucose. So that's what it is. Glucose, also known as sugar, that is a plant's food. Glucose. Now, glucose is a simple sugar that gives the plant all the energy it needs. The plant doesn't use all of this food at once, but it stores later. The glucose has to change for the plant to store it. It is changed and stored in a new form called starch. Who knows what starch is? Or who can give me an example of foods that have starch in them? What is starch? And please give me an example of foods that have starch in them. All right, I see Iksan saying bread. All right, and I'm going to take several hands. I see Tando. Yes, Tando.
Ma'am, pap
Yes.
and rice have starch.
All right, pap and rice have starch. And what is starch, Tando? Do you have an idea what starch is? right, I seem to have lost hand. All right. Maduma, what is starch and what is an example of some starch foods?
Ma'am, starch is food that don't have taste.
Foods that don't have taste. Okay, Maduma. Give me an example of foods that don't have taste.
Rice, Albani bread.
Okay, and are you sure they don't have taste?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Maduma. All right. I see Pancho. Yes, Pancho. Sorry, I actually muted Lozzie. Let's try Pancho again.
Rice,
There you go.
spaghetti.
Are you there?
Yes, rice, spaghetti, also veggies. Some of the veggies.
All right. Some of the vegetables. Thank you, Pancho. All right. So Pancho says some rice has some starch in it. Thank you very, very much. I'm gonna take the last hand. Razi. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hang on a second. Hear them.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Razi, I can hear you.
Starch
Yeah.
starch is a source like a source that is used to make
All right. I'm also
carbohydrates.
studying
That's
for you,
it.
Razi. Please just write your message in the chat. All right. All right. Struggling to hear Lazi. Lazi, just write your message in the chat. Please, and I'll have a read of that. All right. I see Iksan saying starch is a tasteless white substance in plants. Very, very good. We've got Maduna also saying potatoes. All right. So we know that potatoes contain a lot of starch, and of course, yes, tasteless. Not much taste to it at all. Very, very good. All right. Now we can test if a food has a starch in it by using an indicator called iodine. So if you want to see how much starch is in a certain food like potato or rice, you use an indicator called iodine. All right, so iodine helps to test how much starch is inside a food. Now, iodine is called an indicator because it can indicate or tell us if a food has starch in it or not. It does this by changing color or staying the same color. All right, so usually it is a blue substance that we will put in just to figure out if there's starch in it, if there's starch in a food or not. Now, if a food has starch in it, the iodine will change from a yellow brown color to a blue black color. So usually the darker it goes, the more starch the food has. All right. So Iksan is saying the iodine turns from a brownish yellow to a bluish black if the starch is present. Very, very good. So if there's starch in there, it definitely just does change to like a bluish, very, very dark, dark blue, almost black color. All right. Now, if a food doesn't have starch in it, it stays yellow brown. So now then the lighter it is, the less starch it has or no starch at all. All right. So it's very, very important to know that which foods contain starch and which foods do not. At some point, you're more than welcome to actually try a little experiment for yourself using different foods. This could be a potato, an apple, some rice, just to test the starch in these foods. All right, now let's look at foods from plants. Now we rely on plants for food. It says plants convert energy to food. People and animals eat plants to get energy. Different plants store the energy differently. All parts of the plant can be eaten. Now, looking at the picture on your right, or rather the table, it's got different parts of a plant: the root, the stem, the leaf, the seed, the fruit, and the flower. Now, obviously, there are certain foods that we can eat them from. Now, examples of the roots of the food that we eat is potato, beetroot, and carrot. So with those vegetables, we're actually eating the root of the food. With a stem, examples are celery, sugarcane, and asparagus. I do not like asparagus. I don't like celery either. All right, but sugarcane, I can do with some sugarcane. So with all of these vegetables here, we are eating the stem of the plant. Um, I see Zamila asking what is asparagus. It's a type of vegetable. It looks very. I'll have to show you a picture. It's very hard to explain, but it's a green food. Um, it can be in different lengths. There are very some short pieces and a bit long ones. They look more like I can't think of an example for you, but I'll definitely show you a picture of asparagus. I don't like asparagus, but I'll paste a picture to show you tomorrow of asparagus. All right. Then the leaves, we could be eating cabbage, lettuce, and parsley. So we are eating the leaves of these plants. With the seed, we're eating rice, mustard seeds, and millet. These are examples of the foods that we're eating that actually come from plants, but the seed of the plant. Then a fruit, we all know, apple, pumpkin, tomato. I was having a debate with a few family members of mine actually saying whether a tomato is a fruit or a vegetable. All right, very, very complicated type of fruit. Then for a flower, it could be cauliflower, broccoli, and nasturtium are all types of flowers. That's what we're eating. So these are the foods that we get from plants. And this just goes to show that different parts of the plant are actually edible. All right, so we could be eating the root of a food or the seed or the leaf, the flower, and so forth. And just looking at the last bullet point that says all parts of plants can be eaten. All right, they're not as tasty as well, but of course they can be eaten. All right, moving on. All right, just carrying on with plants and food together with photosynthesis. Now, chlorophyll, this is a green substance that plants use to capture light energy from the sun. Chlorophyll is very, very important. Without chlorophyll, plants cannot use the sunlight energy to make food. Also, oxygen levels in the air will go down. If that happens, plants and animals will suffocate. So chlorophyll, the reason why plants are green is because of the chlorophyll substance in the plant. All right. So very, very important for plants, obviously to make sunlight energy, to use the sunlight energy to make food. Right. Then of course there's sunlight. So these are all the processes we need for photosynthesis. Then there's sunlight. Sunlight has energy. Plants use this energy to make sugars from water and carbon dioxide. Right, very, very important. It's not just humans and animals that need water, but so do the plants. The roots of a plant absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Water is a solvent in all living things. I hope you all remember that word solvent. We discussed it about 3 weeks ago. All right. Dissolved substances are moved around the body to where they are needed. Just like you, plants have veins for this movement. They move minerals from the roots going up. They move sugars from the leaves downwards, right? And photosynthesis can only happen in a water solution. Water is also important because it provides support to the plant to keep it upright. Just like you, plants have skeletons, but unlike you, many plants have water skeletons. Very, very interesting point there. Right, then we've got carbon dioxide. Now, the plant absorbs or takes in carbon dioxide from the air through little holes. These holes are found all over the plant, mostly under the leaves. So now we know in terms of carbon dioxide where it is found. All right. Now, don't go under the leaf and think that you will see the carbon dioxide, very highly unlikely. All right. But but mostly that is where the carbon dioxide is found, mostly underneath the leaves of the plant. All right, then we've got soil. Now, the soil provides mineral nutrients and water for the plants that are necessary during photosynthesis. Soil also provides anchorage, so basically like an anchor to the plant. Otherwise, the plant cannot stand up. Very, very important, because it helps the plant stand up. So it's like an anchor. So if the soil is very muddy and very watery, obviously the plant would not be able to stand up straight. However, though, if your soil is a bit hard, with a lot of nutrients, all right, then of course the plant can definitely stand up straight. All right. Um, I see Adele saying that, by the way, sugarcane is so good. We know that with sugarcane, we're talking about a stem. With sugarcane, we're eating the stem of the plant. All right, Maduma also says mealies don't have taste until you add some salt, of course. All right, so if you don't add some salt, some people add aromat as well, just to give it some taste, because after all, starch does not have taste. So it is very helpful to add some salt just to make it a bit tasty. All right. Now, how exactly does photosynthesis occur? So, how does it actually happen? You can tell me, just very, very short, how does photosynthesis actually happen? How does it occur? You can tell me. I like these hands that are coming up. All right, Maduma, please tell us.
Ma'am, photosynthesis comes from the sun.
Okay.
It also comes from the soil and the water that is given.
All right, so photosynthesis relies on the sun and the water. Thank you very, very much, Maduma. Let's see, we've got Talia. Yes, Talia.
Photosynthesis takes place mainly in the leaves of green plants.
Very, very good. Yes. All right. Thank you, Talia. Awesome. All right. So it takes place mainly in the plants. Zamili. All right. Can't get to Zamili.
So what you see the CMTP thingy.
All right. Nope. Can't get to Zamili. I thought that was Zamili. All right. Triasha. Yes. Are you there, Triasha? All right. Struggling to get. Oh, there we go. Triasha, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Ma'am, how photosynthesis occurs? It takes sunlight and it takes water and it also sucks in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. And it uses soil, and then it also uses chlorophyll for the plant to be green.
All right, that is an excellent explanation. Thank you so much, Yasha. Awesome stuff. All right, Ndovu, yes, what about you?
Photosynthesis takes place mainly in the leaves of green plants, and green plants contain a substance called chlorophyll, which makes the leaves green. It releases oxygen and takes in carbon dioxide for us to breathe, and it chlorophyll lets leaves absorb energy from sunlight.
All right, perfect. Thank you very, very much, Ndovu. Right, the last 10 I'll take, we've got Kancho. Yes, Kancho. How does photosynthesis occur? Are you there, Kancho?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Like Ma'am, ma'am, I forgot the answer.
All right, cool. We'll come back to you then when as soon as you remember. Thank you, Fancho. All right, so as soon as you remember, we'll just come back to you. All right. I see Iksan saying the plant uses its chlorophyll to convert the sunlight energy, nutrients from the soil, and carbon dioxide from the air into food. It produces glucose or starch and oxygen, obviously, to make carbon dioxide. Awesome. We've got Impilent as well says photosynthesis takes place in the leaves and relies on sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. Very, very good. Now, plants use chlorophyll, sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to make food. Now, here's a simple illustration to show how this occurs. So just this picture over here, this basically shows us we've got the sun, all right, which obviously the plants take in, all right, they take in carbon dioxide, take in water, and obviously, like somebody says, releases oxygen back into the air that we use to breathe in. So chlorophyll, which is the green substance, captures the sun energy. This energy splits the water into hydrogen and oxygen. The oxygen is then released into the air. The hydrogen is used with the carbon dioxide to make glucose, which is sugars. The sugars are moved from the leaves to make parts of the plant where they are stored. All right, the water in the plant veins carries the sugars. When the sugars reach the storage parts, they are changed into starch. All right, so plants can store the starch in these places. Leaves, like we've spoken already, cabbage, spinach, or lettuce. A fruit could be apples, banana, peaches. In the stem, an example is a sugar cane or asparagus. We're eating the stem of the plant, or flowers. This could be nasturtiums, broccoli, and cauliflower. And the roots, these are carrots or beetroot. All right, I want you to have a look at this on your screen right now. It says photosynthesis, make from light. All right, now the first block, it's blank, which needs you to fill it in. And it says light energy travels to earth, gets absorbed by leaves. So what exactly is that over there? What word has to go there? Light energy travels to energy, gets absorbed by leaves. I see JD saying sun. Malande says sun, Stebile sun. All right, awesome. Zamili, so a lot of you are saying the sun. All right, cool. We will find out as soon as we're done with all of them. All right, on the other side, oxygen, where my arrow is, oxygen is released from leaves as a byproduct. All right, right under that, we've got glucose. Glucose is the product of photosynthesis. It is used or stored by the plant. Then we've got the last one, also blank. It says absorbed through the roots from the soil. So what exactly absorbs from the roots from the soil? What is that? I see Bilantle saying water, Zamili saying water, Stebile says water. All right, interesting. We will find out. All right, moving on to the left. It says carbon dioxide taken in by leaves and used up. And over here in the middle, something green element in leaves, factory for photosynthesis. What is that? Zamili is saying chlorophyll. All right, interesting. All right, Zinzi, we got roots. All right, let's actually find out what the correct answers are. All right, there we go. So we've got sun. This is the light energy, travels to earth, gets absorbed by leaves. Most of you got that. Very, very well done. And of course, chlorophyll. This is the chemical in the leaves, which is the factory for photosynthesis. All right. And of course, we had water, which most of you said it is absorbed through the roots from the soil. So this is just an example of photosynthesis, of course. Very, very helpful for you to know. All right. Now, here's a takeaway message. Now, plants are called producers because they produce or make their own food. All right. So you can tell me, are humans and animals, are we producers? Are humans or animals called producers? Would you say we're producers? All right, a lot of you are saying no. Exxon says no, of course not. Zinzi, Mpilenhle, Tilia, of course not. So humans are not producers because we cannot make our own food. We rely on plants and we rely on animals to provide us with the food so that we can cook it and eat it. So we can't just make our own food. So that does not make us producers. All right. Just like Iksan saying, we don't make our own food, 100%. All right. So obviously plants do this through a process called photosynthesis. So now we know photosynthesis is the process in which plants produce or make their own food. We cannot do that. So photosynthesis. Now the word photosynthesis is photo, which means light. So the root word is photo, and photo actually means light. All right. Now this makes it easier to remember that plants need light to make food, and the light comes from the sun. So you can imagine on a rainy day where there has been no sunlight, it's very, very hard for plants to make their own food, especially because they rely on the sunlight for photosynthesis to actually happen. All right, green plants use sunlight energy, water from the soil, and carbon dioxide, which is a gas we breathe out, right? So they're relying on what we are breathing out. They rely a lot on the sun energy and of course water, which is why if you've got some plants at home, it's very, very important for you to continue watering your plants, all right? And leaving them out in an area where there is some light coming in, all right? So that they can obviously get all the nutrients they need. Green plants have a chemical called chlorophyll in their leaves. The sunlight reacts with this chemical, giving off all the energy that is needed for the process. All right. So chlorophyll, very, very important for photosynthesis to take place. All right. In the process, the carbon dioxide and water mix together and change to make glucose. Now, this is actually the plant's food and obviously oxygen. So obviously carbon dioxide needed to make glucose and oxygen. All right, now here's some very, very helpful links for you. On YouTube, there's just a video on photosynthesis. Those are the two links that will help you just to get a better understanding of what photosynthesis is. All right, tomorrow we are going to discuss food from photosynthesis. All right, so we rely on photosynthesis for a whole lot of food, and we're going to find out what type of foods exactly are those that photosynthesis is so important and in what way. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Please do contact me if you have any more questions or, you just need a bit of help. All right. Please remember to follow us on social media. The links are right there on your screen. DBSA, TESOL Foundation, STEM Champions, and of course the Lockdown eSchool. Thank you so much for being awesome. I will see you again tomorrow, guys, same time. Yes, there's no homework today, thank goodness. All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Have an awesome day and goodbye.